All right. I appreciate everybody joining us this morning, and I do appreciate your understanding in the time change. Andre has a prior engagement that he has to get to this afternoon, so we moved the timing. So again, I appreciate you joining us at an earlier start time. So without further ado, we'll just get into it here. This webinar is on NC-Base. This is the third one in our CIMCO webinar series. And basically, let me just move to the next page here. So I think everybody knows the drill here. Most of the folks that have joining us right now have been in our previous ones. So no need for me to focus on this. And as I mentioned, this is NC-Base, third one in our series. The fourth one is June 7th, and that will be MDM. So if you are able to join us on the 7th, please do. If you haven't registered on the original email link that I sent out that had all four of them, please remember to click on that and register. And either way, I will be doing a recording for this one and for the MDM. So if you cannot make it, no problem. I will make sure you receive the link. So just a little bit of a introduction here on NC-Base and how it joins in with the rest of the CIMCO family, built off of CIMCO Edit, and what NC-Base can do. So in a nutshell, it can organize and manage your CNC programs and related documents. You can associate tool lists, setup sheets, digital photos, and so on. I won't go through everything in here, but some of the key sort of things it can do is it gives you comprehensive search functionality, file templates, backup, restore, version control. You can specify users, groups, and machine groups along with permission management. And of course, it's integrated with the CIMCO Edit as the base and CIMCO DNC Max. And Andre will be showing how that all joins together once he starts sharing his screen. So what are some of the benefits of NC-Base? I kind of touched on this already, but you can organize and protect your documents. Essentially, what you're doing is you're controlling the version. You can secure them, you can lock them up, so on and so forth. On top of that, then you can restrict access to documents, so you can control who can access these documents, who can modify them, who can transfer, and of course, all the actions are logged, and you can see that through your client. Over here now, it's just one central application, so everything is brought into one viewing area, and of course, we can streamline program transfers and now you're reducing your green, reducing paperwork, and all that clutter along with it. So this is kind of some of the duplication, but here are some of the key features that I think are important to some of the users that are already utilizing NC-Base. Of course, you get your file overview and preview. So you can manage your CNC programs, associated documents easily by selecting them from one list. All the files are associated. Comprehensive search when you're looking and you need to filter by programs, part numbers, drawing numbers, machines, the sky's the limit there. And as I touched on the DNC communication, I think, Andre, you're going to show that a little bit, how it's all linked together with the CIMCO Edit and the DNC Max. And I think maybe some of the other real important things is the backup and the restoring and the versioning control. Okay, that's it for me. Just a brief little intro before Andre gets into the meat and potatoes of what we really need to see. Feel free to take control of the screen, Andre.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen now on this one here. So you guys can see my screen now?
Yep, I can see it good.
So, great. So, as Lee mentioned, NC-Base doesn't doesn't live by its own, so it has to be it has its own interface, but through CIMCO Edit. So you need the CIMCO Edit interface to have it working. And when you enable the NC-Base product, it will have this database icon or tab on your toolbar here. So whenever you hit that Explorer button, you will be prompted to log in. And as we mentioned earlier, and we'll go a bit through that later on, is you can have several user group or username in there, depending on how you want to set it up. And each of them can have individual set rights or privilege to as to what they are allowed to do within the database and with the files that are in there. So, for example, if I log myself as admin for the sake of it, of the demo, so you can see right now I have access to my whole database. So what's interesting in here is that we see all the programs in here, even though they're not all in the same file location. So they are saved within a specific folder for based on each machine. So for example, this file here is under DMC professional, like the customer name, part number, and program name here. And then this one is different customer, different part number. So they're all under different groups and different folder individually located on your server. Okay, as you can see, you don't see the complete path here. So it's the database main folder plus then you just see the subfolder into it. Now with this interface, as you can see, there's the list of all the programs. You have the different fields here that you can customize, so you can choose which one you want to see and which order you want to see them as well. And if we expand that, we see all the files that are associated with that program. So you obviously have the NC file, and then you can have NC-Base to create automatically a tool list whenever you import a new program into your database. So I have my PDF here for the part, for my setup sheet. Then I have some pictures that I can add to my actual program. So all this information can be accessible to the actual users when they're going to be looking through that. Also, what you can see, like you've noticed that you have the preview down there. You have the log here, that shows you every action that has been happening on this specific file since the moment it's been entered into the database to so you can see how many versions of the same program you had modified. You can compare the current version with any revision that you had. So for example, I want to compare to the version number 7. So it will automatically bring it up into the CIMCO Edit interface with the compare on. So this is the current version. This is the version 7. And at any point in time, I can come back and say, well, you know what? I want to restore this version. I like it better. So let's restore this version. And now the official version that I have is the one that was the version 7. Okay. And the other one has been backed up anyway previously. So what this allows you is that you can only ever send the program, the latest program, to the machine. You can only send the current program to the machine. So if I go here, I say, well, I want to send this program. Oh, this program is locked. Okay, that's the status that I have in here. So since the program is locked, I'm not allowed to send it to the machine. So I need to unlock it. So that's the settings that you can use. For example, if you're doing prototype style of work, so you put the program in there, but you still need to make some pay attention to the program, complete the documentation for the operator and whatnot. So you can say, well, I'm going to lock it so nobody can send that to the machine up until somebody with the proper rights approve it. So now that it is unlocked, I will be able to send that to the machine. So it's going to tell me, okay, which machine you want to send it to. They're all part of the same machine group, which are the horizontal machine center. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to send that to that machine. Okay, boom. So it's telling me, oh, you have reached the transfer limit. So I need to change that. But I'm going to allow it to send the limit there and try that again. So there's a bunch of different safety that we can configure. So the transfer limit is not mandatory. The lock unlock status either. So we can choose to turn these on or off. This allows you to control, for example, how many times a program can be sent to the machine. Again, if you're running just a prove out part, you can say, well, you're just allowed to transfer it once. And then we're going to be waiting for QC on that part to come back and say, okay, yeah, the program's good. Then you can just unlock the transfer limit and say, yeah, you're free to go, run it as many times as you want. And so on. Or it can be used as well if you're running with in tape mode or in drip feed. So you say, I have, I don't know, 15 parts to do. So you just put a transfer limit to 15. And then once it reaches out the limit, well, it means your production is going to be done. You won't be able to send any more that program. So that's for some of the features that we have in here. You can see on the left side the search bar, which is pretty well done. And again, the field that you can search with is customizable, so you can choose which one you want to see there and then work your way with. So I can search with portion of a program name. Okay, so for example, all my program right now in my database are starting with R, but I can say just look for a program, I don't know, 62, and it's going to find me that R1062, which is my program here. I can search for a description. For example, I'm looking for a program I did for a keyway, so it's going to find me the keyway program here. You can filter out by customer. You can filter out by programmers as well. So say if I have a program, no program made by me for this customer. So if I put, maybe this one, there we go. So I can have multiple filter in here. Delete that, I'll see all the ones that I've done. And so on. You can also filter by statuses or by machine group that you have defined. So in here, you can have groups of individual machines, but you can also have groups of similar machine that may be able to share the same program. So for example, you have 3 different models of horizontal machine, but they all use the same controller. The only thing that changes are size, for example, or year of the machine, but you can essentially run the same program on any of them. Well, they're just going to be grouped into the same, they're going to be linked to the same group, and then you'll be able to choose which machine you want to send it to, or choose, which machine you want to send the program to. So that's for the search interface here. So let's see now how we can add and manage the revision of these files in here. So there's basically 3 main ways to import new program into the database. So first one is, for example, I'm a programmer. I have this program that I posted earlier this morning. I want to add this program into my database so that the operator can send it to the machine. So what I did initially is I've added these key information so that the NC-Base extract this automatically. So I've added the part number, the drawing number, the description, the customer name, cycle time, setup time, part to part, and the programmer's name. So all I have to do now is go back to my database tab and say, I want to add this program, add the current program here. to my database. So it will automatically ask me which machine I want to import it for. So I have 4 different choices. I'll go with the HMC, say OK, and then it will scan the file and automatically recognize the information based on the keywords that I've set initially. So this will all be filled up automatically. If this information is not already in the NC file, you'll be prompted to fill this up. And you can, when you configure the setup, you can choose which fields, sorry, are mandatory, so that you absolutely need to fill out in order to add the file into the database, and so on. And you can say, you can ask it to automatically move the program file to the machine directory. Because as you can see right now, my file is into my regular Mastercam NC folder. Okay, once I add this to my database, the file is going to be moved into my database folder. And it's not going to be in there anymore. So if I just say add in here, so I have this comment prompt here, tell me specify comment to log into the database here. So I say OK, and now I have my new program in here. Okay, with all the information is already populated. I have the timestamp, the username, and the comment that I've done here. And you can see the file has been moved over to my HMC folder. It's not anymore into my Mastercam NC folder. And even if I look at my Mastercam NC folder, the file is not there anymore. So if I'm looking for my SOP, there's no SOP program in there anymore. Second way we can do that is to have the system to scan for a specific importation folder. So for example, I have this folder here that my system is monitoring, and whatever program I copy in that folder is going to be imported directly into the system. So you see my file is here. The system is going to scan whatever is in there, and within a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes, the file is going to be removed from here. There we go. And it's going to be imported into my database here. So that's my housing cover, my program that I just copied. And you can see it's been automatically imported. And because, again, in my program, I had already set these fields up, well, it's already pre-populated. And as you can see, it automatically made the tool list by scanning the file. And then I can manually just come in and add any associated files. I can add or update a setup sheet. I can add pictures. I could add Mastercam file. So the only thing that is really important to remember is that NC-Base, its main purpose is to manage the NC file. So even though you can associate file to it, the only revision or versioning system of this system is, the only versioning tracking that is being done is about the NC file and not the other element that you can associate to it. Okay. Next up, you have another way that you can import program or see what's happening with the program is in the case, for example, you've sent the program to a machine, the operator had to do some changes for to have the tool work better. So it changed feed rate, change tool offset numbers, or change tool number manually in the program, and then you want him to send this file back to the system so that it can we can decide whether we need to keep the version that he had been working with, or if you want to keep the version that was already in the system. So what you can do is, for example, I'm coming in here and I'm gonna make it as if I sending this back to the server. So I'm gonna copy this file over. And for example, I can log off, wait for a couple of seconds, come back here, and eventually I will be notified. I just don't remember how long it's taking for him to give me notification. But if I look into the queue here, I will see the program that I just received from the machine. So as you notice, the program is automatically locked. Oh, there's my notification here. So, and then here I have all these options where I can simply either accept or reject, or I can compare the file I just received with the one that is already on the server. So you can see a user updated cycle time, the tool change number, the offset number, and added some comments, and decided to use that as a sub program instead as a main. So if you, once you've seen that and you say, okay, that's fine, I'm going to accept these changes. Okay, I accept the imported file. So say revision accepted, and I say okay. I go back to program here, program 1058 from this machine, and then you can see the log here that the NC-Max has sent back program, and user created a backup with the comment that I just had. So this is the different ways you can look for tracking of your part. Now, if, for example, I'm logging off and connecting as, for example, the operator group, you'll see that I have a lot less options in here. So I can open up file here. I won't be able to unlock. So this file is locked in here. I cannot send it or do anything with it. This file, I can always look up at the program information, see all the data that I have, but I don't have the rights to modify any of this because I'm limited to it. So I can send and receive files, but I cannot modify or alter anything that is in there. And so for the file transfer, CIMCO NC-Base doesn't have its own communication protocol, so it relies on either CIMCO Edit if you don't have the NC-Max, or if you have the NC-Max, it will connect directly to it and allow you to work with that directly with the different machines that you have configured with the NC-Max right away. And as a background utility, NC-Base is also being used by MDC Max for your data collection, whereas it's being used as a database to store all the data collection. So you won't be able to see that through the interface because this interface is only for the NC file, but there's other entries in the database for all the data collection for the machine in itself. Now, Greg, I saw your question about the enhancement for the last few releases. I have not dig too much or too deep into that, but we can surely take a few minutes later on to compile a few things. I'd be interested to know from which version you want to start from. I can see what all the different revision log and tell you from 2022. Okay, great. So I'll compile this information and send it directly to you, as I'm not fully aware. I know they are constantly improving, solving issues and fixing bugs, and but off the top of my head right now, I could not pinpoint something that is specific to that 2024 version compared to the 2022.
Yeah, a good place where you can look sort of as Andre mentioned, they are constantly making either adding features, fixing bugs, so on and so forth. But that information it's actually a very extensive list that's on their essentially their public release link, and that info is there. So if you were looking for something specific, you can kind of get a giant list to see what has been implemented, whether it be a major version or whether it be just an update or a patch. They do specifically break it down between the CIMCO software products. So as thanks for doing that, Andre. As you're sort of mouse wheeling down through there, you can see there's quite a lot of stuff going on, and Simcoe is one of those softwares that's constantly trying to improve, and they do make this public release. So we can send you a quick link to that as well, Greg. But of course, if you want to, we can sort of have a bit of a conversation and get you some very specific details on that.
This is probably one of the most impressive new feature of CIMCO 2024 in NC-Base, that you now have a web client that is accessible. So if you don't have like a desktop or an all-in-one PC close to the machine, and you want the operator to be able to see or visualize the information that is in your in your NC-Base, all they need is a mobile device. It could be a tablet, it could be a phone, as long as they're connected to your company network where the NC-Base server is running. Well, you'll have access to all of this online, and you have the ability to send and receive the file same way as you can do with the standalone version. The only thing you cannot do, if I'm not mistaken, is modify anything. So it's basically like the viewer. Well, that's probably the nicest upgrade that they've done in terms of new feature, if we're not talking about bug fixes or anything. So, so that's a pretty nice one, I must say. Yeah, I think it. Let me just scroll through my notes that I had. So I linked to the NC associated file, status. Yeah, so we have like I mentioned, the locked and the locked option here. So now I'm still in the operator mode, so I'll just log off here. So I want to just clarify something about that. So I have access to lock and unlock different programs in my database, but I also have, currently I only have two different status here. So I have imported, updated that are set automatically, but I can change the status manually to approved or approval failed. And based on what I choose here, I can set different action into the configuration itself. So I can say, okay, I'm approving the file, and there we go. You see the log, you can see who approved the program, what time, what date, and so on. And now the status has changed. I think that covers pretty much what I wanted to show you guys about the NC-Base product from CIMCO. Lee, do you think of anything else I may have overlooked that you want me to look for?
No, I think you've covered it quite well. Really, it is kind of it is what it is. You've shown sort of what it can do. Obviously, it's sort of I guess you could say almost user specific in terms of
Yes.
needs and requirements. So it can be as sort of basic as you want, if you will, and it can also be as not maybe complex isn't the word, but it can be custom for you as well. And
yeah, there's a lot of settings you can
yes, correct,
configure that.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think you've done a fantastic job just to show an overview and dove in a little bit on some specific things. But the main, the main idea is there, the organization aspect of it, the fact that you can send and receive, the fact that you can revision control, the fact that you can lock things out, all those good things that come along with the NC base. Um, and I really like the fact, how it can auto import when you're dropping files in, things like that. So
Yes.
organization is the key here.
Yep, maybe it is.
Yep.
Good. So if anybody else has a question, I'm assuming that will be a good time to put it in. Otherwise, we're going to call this a wrap.
Yep. Yep. Okay. I think we're good. Well, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, Andre, for this wonderful presentation. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us afterwards. As I mentioned, this will be recorded and we'll make it available. It usually takes a couple days to compile, but I will send out the link once it's ready. And hopefully we see you June 7th for the MDM.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.